Everybody, welcome into the Bluebloods official podcast of FCS Football Central on SI. Myself, my guy, Coach Fred. Man, it feels good to be back. We missed our video preview last week, man. Listen, Coach on a Thursday night game, very, very busy, man. So we're going to give him a pass. We're not going to call him out, nothing like that. But, man, we are back loaded week 2 slate of games, man. Coach, how we feeling? You guys going up to Nashville this weekend? Another shot?
Hydrating, hydrating,
Yeah.
baby, hydrating.
Real quick, Coach, how you feel about the Braves this week, man? Good week of practice. Big SEC game against Vandy this weekend, man. How we feeling going into week 2?
Good week of practice, man. As coach's message to the kids, you go out there each and every week. You play to win. You play your hardest. You leave it all out there, and what happens happens. We just happen to be going there at a time that they are playing pretty good football, and sure enough, it's week 1. But we're going there to put on a show, and we'll see what happens when the clock hits 0, man.
I like it, man. We got a lot to talk about, man. Real quick, the breaking news of last night, Coach. Alabama State quarterback Andrew Body out for the season with a shoulder injury, is supposed to be having shoulder surgery in the coming weeks. And then the big news behind that, other quarterback, O'Brien, out this weekend due to concussion protocol, happened late in the game on that interception. Coach, man, listen. First off, I always hate to see players get injured, man, especially
Right,
back-to-back seasons.
right,
This
right.
kid's got to sit out. Had arguably one of his best games of his career this past weekend, running for over 130 yards. Coach, your just initial thoughts when you heard the news?
Just sick for the kid, man. We all know his history and what he battled to get back to the point of being where he was. Just sick for the kid, man. I really, really hate it for him. But wish him the best. He's a great kid. Had a chance to spend some time with him at media day, talk with him a little bit. Uh, Comes from a football family, so I expect nothing less than 100% when we're talking about rehab and things like that. But you hate to see this type of thing happen this early in the year, man.
Yeah, I hate it for him, man, and I also hate it for Alabama State too. I mean, dude, you're going into a game against a D2 opponent in Miles that just beat them last year, and you're
Remember,
missing.
we were at the bowl game, and
Yeah,
those kids were talking about it.
yeah. So I mean, it potentially back-to-back years of an upset bid. Man, if everything that could go wrong has seemed to go wrong for Alabama State, man. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Zoe, Paris, Chad, Adrian, our guy Dustin, the Rev, man. Can't wait for our show tomorrow.
Rev,
Mr. Carey. Shout out to all of you guys. Coach, real quick, the other thing, I wanted to pull this up, man, because shout out to PV versus everybody for putting this together. Coach, I don't know if you've seen this yet. We have an HBCU fantasy league, actually, Coach,
what? Okay.
where each week we get to draft a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex on offense, D-line, linebacker, DB, flex for defense, and you can only pick one player per school, Coach. So if I pick D. Richardson from FAMU as my quarterback, I can't pick any other player on that team. Coach, dominating after week 1. Who expected anything less? Your
Yeah,
boy
yeah,
dominated the
yeah.
fantasy league.
That's my
71
partner. That's
points,
my
man. Hey,
partner right there.
71
Yeah,
points. Hey,
yeah.
job is not finished, man. I'm confident in my team this week, man. But shout out to PV versus everyone for getting that together. I have a blast with that, man. But yeah, job's not
Hey,
finished, man. That's what I posted on social media.
before we start, man, play the video.
Oh, the hype. Bro, we got copyrighted last week. I ain't gonna play it this week, but yeah, the hype
I don't
train,
I don't want to have
full
to play
e-break.
that after week 3 in your rankings, man. I don't want to have to play that video. All right.
Oh man,
All aboard
I hope.
the hype train.
I listen. I like it. I like it. But man, let's get to our game of the week, Coach, and then we're gonna get into just some basic picks and everything like that. The game of the week, obviously, top 12 matchup this week, Coach. Incarnate Word number
Right.
12 in the country, traveling to South Dakota State, number 1 team in the nation, looking to bounce back from a loss to Oklahoma State. Incarnate Word beats Northern Colorado last week, 28-7. Coach, your initial thoughts on this game, and do you give the Cardinals a shot to pull off the upset? Because I believe the streak of FCS wins is somewhere around close to 30 games now for South Dakota State.
And this one is going to be really interesting because this is supposed to be one of those years that, Incarnate Word is supposed to have some folks on that train of their own as well. So, this is one of these matchups that I think will tell us a lot about them. I think it'll tell us a lot about ZC and what he's got going on over there, and if he's their guy. Because we know last year that they had some, I don't want to say issues, but they had some ups and downs at that position. Um, but this is going to be a true test for them defensively,
Yeah.
and I think that's supposed to be the backbone of their team. This is going to be a true test of their ability, man, to control that quarterback and make somebody else have to beat them.
Yeah. I'm not going to give everyone Coach, I've heard some previews of this game, and it's just almost like everyone defaults to the Jacks, which I get it, man. Look, they've been so dominant, and I understand it. But I do think this is a good matchup for them, and not for the reasons people think. Because when you think of Incarnate Word, Coach, everyone thinks offense. They're like, oh,
Right.
they're going to test the secondary. They can run the football. Zach Calzada's experience. I actually think this is a massive test for the offense of South Dakota State and the passing attack, is because outside of Wildy at wide receiver, they don't have any experience on the outside. There's nobody proven outside of maybe Wildy. In the little bit that he's even proven, that is the number 1 guy that has proven, like, because Coach, you got to think the Yankee twins were getting like 95% of the targets. The tight end room with Tucker Kraft was getting the other part of the targets. They don't have any proven wide receivers. And I think Gronowski has shown that he can play in these key games, but man, that secondary for Incarnate Word, they're big, they're experienced, they have a bunch of playmakers. They were part of one of the best secondary units in the nation last year. And Coach, one guy I really like was a transfer, Kendrick Stone, junior out of Kansas City, Missouri. Coach, last week, 9 tackles, had a pick, 6'2", almost 200 pounds, man. Physical corner, has the athleticism to back it up. They got a guy, Mason Chambers, back there at safety as well. They have so many guys in the back end of the defense that can make plays. I really wonder if they press these wide receivers, how confident is South Dakota State that they got the guys on the outside to make plays? But here's the flip side. This is where I'm worried, Coach, real quick. The rushing attack, man. If Incarnate Word can't match up in the front 7, none of that might not matter. They have to stop the run first and make South Dakota State play into their advantage. And that's the biggest issue for me in this game.
Well, and that goes to what I was saying. You have to make somebody other than MG beat you. And that's cut the run off, cut him off. And the next closest receiver has 4 catches. Even though week 2, the next guy has 4 catches for under 70 yards. Their top guy over 100 yards. So can this top guy, can G-Dub carry them, and can MG carry them with his arm and not his legs when plays break down, not design quarterback runs, and can Incarnate Word stand on the premise that, it's our defense, it's not our offense this year.
It,
To me, that's going to be the cat and mouse. Can you, or will they sell out to stop the run, or are they going to come in and try to play conventional with things like that? And if it's me, we putting everybody and our grandmother up there to stop the run, and we're going to make MG pass the ball, and we're going to find out if he's got guys that can catch it and make plays.
Because it's one of those things, Coach, you take away their bread and butter, which, listen, Amar Johnson, me and you have talked about, electric. Angel Johnson, electric. They got the running back depth, and we know what their
Yeah.
offensive line is. I'm cool if Gronowski goes out there and throws for 354 tubs and we can't
You
cover
beat me.
nobody,
You
then
beat me.
listen, you are the better team. But
You beat me.
we cannot let you come out here and run 50 times for 275 yards and hold the ball for 37 minutes of possession time. We can't let that happen if you're Incarnate Word. And also, as good as Incarnate Word offense is, I still think South Dakota State's defense is good enough where you don't feel confident you're getting to 24, Coach, in this game. So if you start letting points up on the board, you get real nervous on, okay, do we have the talent to go blow for blow with this team?
And you start to press and you start putting yourself in bad situations. You know, if defense is your bread and butter, what you're hanging your hat on, if I'm, you know, UIW, I mean, we're gonna hand it off. We're gonna run it. We're gonna put everybody and our grandmother up there in the front, and we're okay. We're playing 3 and out, keeping the field position moving, and see if MG can beat us with his arm and not his legs. Can we take away that running back room, which is crazy deep, and find out what's in that receiver room? And I think that's what's got to be the plan.
Yeah, and also too the other thing, and this is way easier said on this show than actually done. The front seven for Incarnate Words got to get to Gronowski
Early.
I don't think I can't think of the FCS game in the past 2 years where he was really under pressure. I can't think of a game where he was running for his life. The offensive line's been too good. Nobody's had the guys up front to really get after him. Coach, you remember that Albany front seven last year?
Stonewall.
They were killing, no sacks, 1 pressure for the entire game. So when I look at this matchup, Coach, do I think Incarnate Word has the athletes to make this interesting? I really do. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me pull it up. I think the last time I looked, the spread was 23 points for the Jacks.
Great, Moses.
Yeah, 23-point favorite, South Dakota State. Coach, your pick here, did the Jacks get over that 23, or is this a closer game and Incarnate Word can make it interesting?
I'm taking UIW in the points. That's a lot of points.
But you're taking South Dakota State for the win.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, definitely that. Because I don't think that, us sometimes in college shirts, we tend to want to force the point that we can do this, our way instead of what might be the obvious way, which, again, is load the box and let's make you beat us through the air, which no one has done. Correct me if I'm wrong. Since I've started with you and they've gotten on this roll, no one has made them become one-dimensional. And I think, you've got to make that your focus and kind of see what's going on with it. But I'm going to take Word and the points, but, SDST, they'll win that. I think they'll win it. They're at home.
Yeah, at home too. The home winning streak's real. I'm with you, Coach. I think Incarnate Word finds a way to cover. I think I got it about 31-17, South Dakota State, somewhere in that 14-point range.
I'm good with that.
Like I told Timothy on our other preview show, I would not be surprised if it's very close at halftime. 1-score game, possibly even tied. But, man, I just don't know if the depth is there in the front seven for Incarnate Word to hang in, because I've just seen it too many times, Coach. They'll play them close, and then when they start running the ball in that second half, you start getting real thin on that defensive line, and that offensive line just wears on you and wears on you and wears on you. And, yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen here, man. So let's get to our second game of the week, man. Honorary game of the week, I guess. This one's interesting, Coach. Number 4 Montana traveling to number 23 North Dakota. Here, another top 25 matchup. Montana is an 8.5-point favorite on the road. Coach, how you feeling about this one?
I think EG and the rushing attack, I think they make this one kind of easy. I'm not really sold, and I don't think you were either on Indy being ranked, let alone being able to handle this type of matchup early. I just think, EG in that running game will be too much for them to handle, even at home.
I agree with you. Now, let me say this, Coach. Last week, Junior Bergen was out, All-American wide receiver. Tight end Cole Grossman, All-American, out. I think he's still out this weekend. And All-American linebacker Riley Wilson didn't play.
That's rough.
Now, from what I'm hearing, I do think Bergen and Wilson are back. Grossman is still out. So, and apparently the line shifted,
That'll be
Coach. It's
enough.
only four. It's only 4.5. So,
They might know something we don't.
yeah, and from what I was told, I think Bergen and Wilson play, but that also could change because you know how it is with game time decisions, man. You don't know until you get out there in warm-ups.
We're gonna see how much film study uh, UND did. If they
Yeah,
kick it to Bergen, they did
no kidding.
absolutely no film study.
No kidding. Now here's the thing that worries me about Montana, Coach, and tell me where you've heard this before. The two quarterback system isn't going to work. You got to get out of it eventually. And we only have one data point, and I get that. But Logan Fife looked like the much more efficient quarterback than Ayat did last week. I mean, you have one guy complete 47% of his passes for 90 yards, no touchdowns. The other guy went 5 for 7, 90 yards and a touchdown. Very clear who had the better game and who looked better. And just watching the game, Coach, I felt like he had better pocket presence. And I don't think their athleticism is different enough. Like Ayat's not this freak athlete that you have to keep on the field. It wasn't like what we saw with Body and O'Brien. They're about the same. They both can get out of the pocket and move. So I just think you have too talented of a receiving core not to put the guy who's the better passer in the game. And so I think Fife should get the start, Coach, but I agree with you. They're going to run the football. Xavier Harris, Eli Gilman, Osmato. I mean, they're going to run the football, I think, at a high rate. And the X factor for me is, Coach, when I watched the North Dakota State offense last week, and listen, it was Iowa State. I don't know how much I could take away from what they look like.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I believe his Romfo is Coach. He was inefficient, had a turnover, and I just think Montana's they're gonna be creative up front in terms of how they blitz the passer. They're gonna have them under pressure. I just think they're so good against the run that I just don't know if he's gonna have enough through the air. Now they got Bo Belquist back at wide receiver, who's just a freak athlete, but I just don't know if North Dakota has enough weapons to get this one done, Coach.
I agree with you. And then I think again, uh, the team with a better run game survives this. And I think it's going to be the Grizz. But to touch on it before we move on, to touch on with the two quarterback system, if you're in a situation where you're one double A versus one double A, I I just don't understand what you're trying to get to with that, unless it's a complete difference, like you said. One is an actual Joe Montana back there, and then you got one that's an actual Randall Cunningham kind of thing. Uh, Other than that, I mean, I just think you're wasting reps early on for a guy that can really get you over the hump come the middle on into the end of the season. Uh, Now, if you're playing two money games and you're figuring it out and you're putting it out there, you're getting the rhythm, I understand that. But when you're playing one double A to one double A, when you're playing conference game to conference game, I'm just not sure of what you didn't see in camp uh, that you're trying to see here in your first game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think the other interesting matchup too is you want to have the better quarterback coach because North Dakota, I believe every single starter in the secondary but one is a sophomore or younger. And you got a very experienced wide receiving core on Montana's side. And then the other thing too, Coach, I look at this defense for Montana. I don't think they get enough creativity for how they bring blitzes and how creative they are with the defensive line. I went back and watched the film from last week. Coach, man, with all the stunting they do up front in terms of the twist and the different gap alignments, everything that they do with the linebackers and dropping back defensive ends into coverage, they're so creative that I think it's going to give Ronfos a little bit of a trouble being a younger quarterback. That I think that's the difference. Also, too, Coach, you remember we talked about Governor last year at defensive tackle?
Yeah.
They got another kid, Pat Hayden, I believe Monmouth transfer, wearing 99. He was unblockable last weekend at times. And if they have a good defensive tackle at the nose guard running that three-man front, this defense is just hard to block because Hayden Harris went off, Caho and
Oh,
linebacker went off. I just think they got too much talent defensively, Coach. My prediction: Montana 24, North Dakota 14. I think the Grizz find a way to get it done.
You think it's that close, huh?
Yeah, just here's my concern with Montana. They might be the significantly more talented team on paper. Early in the season, they always find a way to make it closer than they need to. Always.
They find a way to keep HH clean on that defensive side, and he continues to play
Yeah,
fast. Uh, it's going to be a tough day for UND. Again, I like the Grizz because I think their running game is going to be a little too much. So I like them, and I like it in more of a 28-10 type fashion.
I like it. I like it. And also, too, this Patrick makes a good point. Weird things happen in this dome over in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Grand Forks?
Yeah. So nothing going on in Grand Forks in the first place up in this game. But here we are. Coach, our Super Dog segment, man. This will be the first week we get to do it. There weren't enough games in week 0. Last week we missed. Obviously, this works the same way the college game day group does. These teams have to be 3.5-point underdogs or more. You get different points on if they cover. Also, outright wins handle points. I'll put up the rules in our recap episode when we get the points together. Coach, I'll go first while you look for an upset. I got 2, but I'm going to go with the bigger one for my points. Morgan State, 12.5-point underdogs against Townsend. I don't know if Morgan wins, Coach, because Townsend looked really good last week against Cincinnati. But I do think Morgan State covers that 12.5-point spread, man. They're my super dog pick for week 2.
Morgan, you like that one, huh? Okay. Hold on. Minnesota, Rhode Island.
Okay.
Man, I was looking at this one earlier.
So you got Rhodey pulling it off.
I've gotta think that, and this is gonna give me a jump to get out on you early on. So yeah, I'm gonna rock with that one.
Okay. So you got Rhode Island covering 25-point spread against Minnesota, man. Listen, I'm all for that. Well, we need it in the FCS, Coach. It's been bad. It has been really bad. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I need to find the stats for the next show, Coach, but I believe this is one of the largest margins of victory on average for FBS over FCS schools. Yeah, not great. Not great. But, Coach, let's wrap this show up here with our pick'em segment, man, before we hit just some last-minute talks before we get out of here. Other games, so we're just going to pick heads up, guys. No spread, nothing like that, man. Just predict the winner. Coach, we got number 19 Lafayette at Monmouth. 11 a.m. Central kickoff this Saturday. Coach, who you going with here?
I think in this one you got to take the home team.
Ooh,
early on. I think the road teams have kind of found it tough sledding. You're just getting into your travel routines. You got a lot of guys you got to break into it. I like that. I like the home team.
Okay. I'm going with Lafayette here. I think they're going to run the football. Monmouth struggled defensively last week against Eastern Washington. Coach, they gave up, 3 touchdowns and almost 200 receiving yards to your fly zone wide receiver of the week last week.
That's different. That dude is different.
I think Lafayette finds a way to get it done with Jamar Curtis running the football. Coach, this is an interesting one. Campbell at number 17, Western Carolina. The over-under on this game should be outrageous with the amount of points that could be put up here between Masco and Cole Gonzalez. Coach, can the Camels pull off the road upset over there in Cullowhee?
No, not at all. Not going to happen. Let's go, Cole.
I'm not picking against that guy number 9 right now. Balling. It was balling last week. Now, Coach, I think I know who you're picking, but we got to talk about it for a second. Tennessee State going on the road against North Dakota State up there in Fargo. Tennessee State coming off a win over Valley last week. North Dakota State, obviously, with a heartbreak in Colorado. Coach, can Eddie George shock the world?
I want to say yeah, because I see a letdown coming from the home team. But I don't know if the Fighting Georges can put up enough points early, before they come out of that letdown. So I want to take them, but I don't think they can put up enough points to hold off while North Dakota State fights off that letdown that week after that disappointment. Uh, so yeah, I can't take them in this one. I'm gonna go with ND
You had me
NDS.
looking like Paris. Just she okay.
Let me
Like, listen,
finish.
I would love to see the upset, but yeah, I
Let
just
me
think North Dakota
finish.
State they're just gonna run the football. Cam Miller's playing at such a elite level right now, and like Ron said in the chat, the Bison they want to prove a point, man. After what happened last week, I think they're going to come in fired up. Their head coach still hasn't got a win yet as a head coach. They're going to be fired up for the home opener.
But that's the thing. You're here. You're here. You were so close, man, and you can say whatever you want. You can go, but you go back and if you track history when those games have happened, the week after, and you've got a tough opponent, there's always a lull. There's always a low, and that's why I said if Tennessee State could somehow find a way to sprint out to a 17-0, that would make it tough. But I don't think they have enough to sprint out to a 17-0 because I really feel that uh, ND State is going to come out sleepwalking, and that's when you have your opportunity to catch them. But I just don't think they have enough to catch them uh, to hold on after they catch them. Yeah, they might sneak them 6, 7 points, but that's not going to be enough to withstand once they do wake up. That's not going to be enough to withstand it.
No, I agree with you. Now, this one's interesting. Mercer at Bethune Cookman.
Not interesting. Mercer by a lot.
I agree, but Coach, I don't know if you had a chance to watch. Now, listen, I get it was Presbyterian, but DJ Smith, who, if people don't know, is from Greenwood, Mississippi, and played college at it was out of Jones Community College.
Mm-hmm.
His first start last week, Coach,
300.
20 of 24 for 3 tubs through the air, 331, and a rushing touchdown in his first start last week.
Oh, ain't no doubt. And
Balling.
Cookman's
Give
still
me
trying
Mercer.
to figure some things out. So, yeah, I'm gonna take Mercer in a good bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Montana State, Maine this weekend, Coach. Any concerns here? I'm going with the Bobcats big.
Oh yeah. Got none whatsoever as I'm looking at that. Nah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Now, Southern Illinois, Austin P. This game was interesting. Yeah, probably would have been much more interesting last year, but Coach, I'll just kick it off. Southern Illinois big. Austin P. Let me pull it up real quick because listen, I know they
Yeah.
played a P5 team, Coach, but the offense looked anemic last week against Louisville. And I don't even think Louisville was supposed to be the Louisville that they were last year. Coach,
No.
they they had 106 yards on 58 plays and rushed for 34 yards on 34 attempts.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. And I know they lost a lot, but they were still the cupboard was still full. And I think last week, not that we were looking for them to beat Louisville, I just think we were looking for them to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of those situations of where um, it didn't happen. I don't know if it's because Louisville is better than people thought, but I'm just going to say that, the Salukis in this one here, I'd say easily.
Yeah, I was, I wasn't impressed with his passing last week, DJ Williams for Southern Illinois, but against BYU, he ran for 121 and 2 touchdowns. He had an Andrew Body stat line last week for them. So I think he's gonna get loose on them for sure. Coach Lamar, Mississippi Valley State, any chance the Delta Devils put on for the SWAC and get that out of conference win?
Nah, got to go Lamar. I want to go the other way, but Lamar was surprisingly pretty good.
Yeah, almost beat Texas State last week.
Yeah, they were surprisingly pretty good last week.
That's just insane. Now This one, Coach, is a little bit better. But I'll say some of our best pick'ems for last. We have UT Martin at SEMO. The two Big South OVC favorites, SEMO 1-1, beat North Alabama. Coach, they were one play away from getting an FBS win last week. UT Martin, listen, FBS game, Power 5 game. We won't count it against them. So, but yeah, UT Martin, SEMO. Coach, who you got here?
Man, I like SEMO.
Ooh.
I like SEMO. And the home team again serves it up. But I think PD, man, I think he's going to pick them apart.
I agree. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this. I picked UT Martin in the preseason, but based on what I've seen from SEMO, God, they look good, Coach.
So you're off the train?
No, I'm not. I think UT Martin is going to be great.
Okay.
I just think SEMO is going to be a much better, and they're the home team. And Coach, 2 weeks of experience against teams that you learned about yourself from is a lot different than playing a team you didn't learn anything about yourself in. I think that's going to help them.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So I'm going with SEMO there. Coach, the other game. Oh, where'd it go? Elon at North Carolina Central.
Now, and it goes back to my other theory. If Elon can have enough to sprint out early and hold on, I think they pull this one out. You're riding high. It's a great week. You spent time in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Now it's back to business. If Elon can sprint out, I think they can pull this one off, man. I really do.
I'm going to go with the upset. I think Central gets it done at home. I think they get it done at home. I liked what I saw from their rushing attack. I think this game, Coach, if there was a coin flip game on the schedule for next week, it's this one. And I think whoever would have the home game, I would lean toward. But I think, and listen, Coach, you know this. If there's a coach in HBCU football that is going to be motivated to win an out-of-conference game, it's Trey Oliver.
Ain't no doubt.
It's Trey, and here's the difference that I think Central has, and I've talked with some other pundits in the space about it. When I analyze like these FCS out-of-conference games, I don't get the sense of fear almost from Central that I do some teams. Like you hear some fan bases, Coach, and it's like, oh, we got to play, insert Southland FCS team. Man, are we going to be able to escape? Central goes out and schedules top 25 New Hampshire, top 25 Elon, and they're like, oh no, we're going to win the game.
The way you should do it. No doubt about it.
And so I'm going with Central for the upset here, Coach. I really, really think they're going to find a way to get it done. Now, an interesting one. I can't believe I'm even have this game on the pick 'em because I didn't think either of these teams were going to be good. West Georgia, Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian last week, Coach, scored 51 points against Texas Tech and took them to overtime. Maverick McIver threw for 500 yards last week. West Georgia, double-digit win over Sanford at home last week. Coach, can the Wolves shock the nation again?
They do. They do.
Oh, I like it.
They do. And it,
shout
again,
out to Coach
goes
Joel
back
Taylor.
They do. I just think they come in, they catch a team. I don't want to say sleeping, but they catch a team who's really, I hope not, but more times than not, when you're dealing with 18 to 22, 23-year-olds still living in that Texas Tech stadium. And by the time they wake up, West Georgia's going to be out of there. Stuck them up. Got to win. Up out of there.
Coach, I don't remember if I said this on our recap show. Did you? If you guys go back and watch the film on this West Georgia game, Coach, their first play at the FCS level, Coach Joel Taylor dials up a flea flicker for like 75 yards.
Let's go, baby.
I love it. But here, I'm going to say it. Abilene Christian at home finds a way to get it done. I do think they covered the spread, though, Coach. The spread's 17.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
That's crazy. West Georgia covers that. It's a one-score game, in my opinion. Now, Portland State at Weber State, Coach. Who gets it done this weekend?
Man, I remember jumping on Weeb last year and thinking they were ready for the prime time, man, and they just weren't there. Uh, but they're at home, so I got to go with them, the home team. I think DB puts them on their back and gets them home late in that game.
Oh, Jesus. I'm not going to do this. I think this might be the upset pick of the weekend.
You going Portland State?
I think so. I think they have the offense to get it done.
Mm.
And if they don't get the upset, I think it's going to be close. I think they cover the 11.5-point spread. I think this is shockingly a one-score game.
Okay, let's do it.
I do. And Coach, we've talked about this. Their schedule, they better win this game.
Oh, because it's
It's a wrap after this. I don't know if there's another winnable game on the schedule after this. I mean, Coach, after this game, you got top 10 South Dakota, you got Boise State, you have top 10 Chattanooga, you have ranked UC Davis, you have Idaho State, which might be your only win, but it's on the road. You got Montana State in the top 5, Sac State in the top 10, Idaho in the top 10, Montana in the top 10, and then Northern Colorado, which might be your only win.
You got two possibles.
Jesus Christ.
After this one, you got two possibles.
I really wasn't impressed with Weber last week. I know were playing Washington, but I was expecting more. I'm still going with Weber for the win, but I think Portland State makes it a lot closer than people are giving them credit for. I don't know, man. And then finally, Coach, the last game, Sacramento State at Fresno State. One of the only chances to possibly get an FBS win this weekend. How you feeling about this one?
Man, I hope Sac State can pull 2 in a row, man. That'd be huge. That would be huge. If they can hang around early like they did last year, I think they can pull this off. They got to keep KB clean, and he's got to be good with his legs as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with him for the upset, man.
I like it. I think they're going to cover. I don't know about the upset, man. They just turned the football over way too much last week. It just
There'll be a lot of focus this week. What happened this week? A lot of focus this week.
They'll cover. They're just going to find a way to give it up, man. I think it's a one-score game because, Coach, they were leading. What was it last week? And then all of a sudden, it was just collapsed. I don't really know what necessarily happened there, but they just completely fell apart. But man, to wrap this up, Coach, man, I always like to get your thought. Oh, go ahead.
Let's take this one to the chat. Okay. Who you got, chat? Miles of Bama State. I'll say it. I'll put it out there.
That's crazy.
Let's see what the chat says. Where you at? Where you at, chat? Who y'all got?
Who y'all got? D2 game of the week.
Who y'all got?
Oh, that's horrible. Hey, is shout out to our guy David. Listen, David, money line for my picks. I am 16-3 this year on straight up picks. I'm like just under 500 against the spread. So go with my money line picks, not my against the spread picks, man. They've not been great this year.
Get at me, Dave, when you collect, baby.
Hey, there's a lot of miles in this chat.
Really?
Someone said miles by a mile.
Miles by wordplay. I love it.
Okay, Coach, let me ask you this. Okay, and I don't want to be controversial. I know you can only offer so much being that this is a team in your conference. I was talking to someone on the phone. Fam goes down to Miami this weekend. Play the Hurricanes. They've looked great, right? 2-0. You got back-to-back FBS games. Miami, Troy. I've been on record saying Troy's the bigger game, in my opinion, because that's a winnable game. I think they should sit Daniel Richardson in this game.
Can't do it.
Have to, in my opinion.
Can't do it. The optics of that to your team, you can't do it. I get what you're saying, but you can't do that. You can't do it. You've got to come up with a plan to keep him out of harm's way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you've got to make sure you are as good as you can be with that plan as far as calling it. And, again, every time you step out there in between those lines, man, you got to be ready to rock. You got to be ready to turn it up. And I think they're feeling pretty good about themselves in Tallahassee to the point that they may think they can go down there and compete and make it happen. But you got to roll your QB out there. You don't ever want to give that signal to your guys, but you got to have a plan to get that thing out of his hand as quick as possible. He's got to understand when you break the pocket, when it's over, it's over. Meaning get your butt down or get out of bounds. You know what I mean?
Now, do you play him the whole game?
It depends on where we are.
Coach, let's be realistic. It's 3 scores minimum at halftime. 3 scores minimum. Cam Ward is going to throw as many touchdowns as his heart desires this weekend.
Now, with that being said, if it gets out of hand early, oh no. You know what I mean? If it's somewhere within, 2 scores, I think you got to keep fighting.
Okay, so here's because me and this person went back and forth on it, and I do agree here. I think it 1 to 2 drives, and if those 2 drives go a truly, bro, just get back over here before you get your head taken off.
Yeah, I see that. I'm with you.
Because here's what I'm thinking. Kendall Bowler probably has to play the first half because he's a bona fide NFL prospect. Kendall Bowler needs this film, right? This is no offense. Richardson, best quarterback in the SWAC right now. Richardson's size is not an NFL quarterback. He's not playing for NFL tape. You need Daniel Richardson to win the Celebration Bowl. Kendall Bowler needs to film to go to the NFL. It's different.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And you'll know really early where this thing is headed.
Oh, yeah.
You'll know really early.
Agreed.
And, you kind of make your decisions from there. But you've got to roll them out there just for your team's psyche.
And then, man, Coach, I always like to get your thoughts at the end of the show about you guys, man, going up to Vandy, the Commodores coming off a win that I didn't expect it. They didn't expect it. No one really expected it. Diego playing at a really high level at quarterback for them. Coach, tell me a little bit give me your thoughts about this weekend's game, man. How you guys feeling? What y'all seeing on film from them?
We're going to have a really good plan to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands early and often. We'll know how this thing is going to go by the first couple of drives. But, Malachi, those guys like that are fighting for NFL tape. Our quarterback is an underclassman, so he's not fighting for NFL tape. He's fighting for us to win the Celebration Bowl. This sound familiar?
Fair.
This sound familiar?
Yep. No, I'm with you. Malachi's got to play 4 quarters if we need to. But outside of that, I'm trying to think. I mean, who else is up for NFL tape for you guys right now?
Our linebacker Steve. He's next up, man. He's next up, cut from that cloth of like a Claude.
I told you, Coach. They're in the chat. G's taking on the entire Vandy fan base by himself. It's G versus everybody right now.
Oh man, I absolutely love it. I hadn't seen any of it, but I absolutely love it, man. That's dope. That's dope.
Shout out to G.
I think that's dope. But so what do we get, man? Miles, Bama.
Yeah, Miles won by a landslide in the chat. Coach, we were on HBCU Nightly, and this is another game I think could be a D2 up. So I'm trying to pull it up to make sure I got the right teams here. And where'd it go? Let's see.
If you don't have, I got one.
Oh, no. Hampton, Virginia Union.
There's, in the community, there's talk that Virginia Union can pull this off.
I picked them. Personally.
Oh, so you're part of that community as well.
Yeah. Well, did you see the game last week against Kentucky State?
Yeah, I caught bits and pieces.
69-7. And Jada
I don't know how
Byers,
good Kentucky State, you know what I mean?
But Jada Byers has done that against everybody.
You know what I mean?
Kid went 211, 3 touchdowns on 14 carries.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yards per carries. Oh, and here we are. VUU's a 1-point favorite right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm with it. There's people in the community that are whispering that this could be one of those ones.
I think it could.
Last one for the chat, because there's whispers in the community that this one could be one of those ones as well. When you're talking about Tuskegee traveling to Grambling. Now, Tuskegee didn't look like that to me on paper,
No.
but people that are close to them say that they are a lot better than what they put on last week. Of course, we all say that, but you know, this is a matchup they've been wanting to see and been asking for. So,
No.
what we got?
No, I don't. Coach, they lost to a bad Alabama A&M team last year, 58-3.
I have no excuses for that. I don't.
And they lost last week, right? To
Yeah,
Johnson C. Smith.
yeah. The Red Tail Classic, I think it was. Yeah.
God, I don't know about that. Yeah, I think Grambling finds a way to get that one done. And hey, Chris says yeah, but there's a lot of no's
Okay.
in that one. I think it's Miles. That's one of them. I think the Virginia Union Hampton. The other one that apparently people have been confident about, I don't see it, is Winston Salem over Incat, but I can't get behind that because Incat's offense looked so
So
much
much
more
more
improved
improved.
last week.
Yeah.
I
I
just
think that been last year.
I don't see Winston Salem pulling that one off.
Yeah, if
Just
this had been
personally.
last year, I would have jumped on that with him.
Now Winston did look good against Bluefield State, man, but like
Who?
yeah, exactly. Bluefield
I'm
State,
just
but
playing. I mean, I don't know much about him.
hey, they're not North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
Look, our guy Dave in the chat, insanity. I'm sure Dave's going to talk about it on MD tonight, man. Y'all make sure to go over to the HBCU Nightly Network and check out MD. My guy Banks and Dave do a hell of a job with that. But yeah, Coach, that's a wrap on week 2, man. It was good to get back in here, chop it up, preview
That's
some
fun, bro.
games. Man, so listen, guys, next week we're launching a full schedule. We got myself and Coach back, recap on Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, somewhere in there. Depends on Coach's practice schedule. Okay, so no MD tonight, coming back Wednesday. So tune in next week to MD. So us Sunday night, Monday, Coach has a new show launching. We're going to have a full rollout for that, man. So make sure to clear y'all's Mondays off. Coach and a new special guest, man. Y'all might not see me. I'll be coaching another guest on here, chopping up about college football. So tune into that. And then me and Coach will be back Thursdays, every Thursday, right around this time, previewing the next week of FCS football, man. So make sure to turn on your post notifications, subscribe to the channel. Also, subscribe to where you listen to podcasts. Myself and Timothy dropping 2 episodes a week, recaps and previews, man. So y'all get 4 FCS episodes a week, plus a 5th special one with Coach and his surprise guest host that you guys will find out later this weekend who that is. But man, that's hey, website as well, si.com/college/FCS. Coach, any last words, man, before we roll out of here?
I know it's week 2. I know it. But check on your friends, man. Check on your friends. Some of your friends in the month of June and July had really high hopes. And it's going away quickly. Check on your friends. Check on your friends. Thank y'all.
Oh man, hey, and shout out to G, man, repping Alcorn on the timeline, man. He just put up a poll and asked if he should keep going or let Vandy fans rest. So that dude don't sleep. That dude don't sleep for Alcorn, man. Hey, maybe Vandy can pull off the upset this weekend, man. We'll see. But guys, for Coach Fred, myself, the Bluebloods, FCS Football Central on SI, we are out for right now.